Hello humans, welcome to a reading vlog where I exclusively read books about twins. As you may or may not know, I'm an identical twin myself. I've done a video with my identical twin in the past. It was a raucous good time. I was doing my Dollar Tree haul video the other day, and I was talking about how twin books get me every time, which I said in my last Dollar Tree haul as well. I took the twin books from both of those hauls and some other random twin books I had and made a stack of 5 twin books to see if they make me feel anything. So the 5 books that I'll be reading for this are The News from the End of the World by Emily Jean Miller, Identical by Scott Turow, Identical by Ellen Hopkins, are we sensing a theme? Mishling by Affinity Kanar, and Please Don't Tell by Laura Timms. Let's get into it. I'm so excited to read all about twins! As is often my spirit with these secret TBR videos, I've chosen the easiest one to get through, to read first, to just build momentum. Now it's 550 pages, so it doesn't look like it would be quick, but it's Ellen Hopkins, so of course it's entirely written in verse. Do love me some Ellen Hopkins. This may be the 4th Ellen Hopkins book that I'm reading. Now, there are a couple of interesting things happening here. One, it's from 2 perspectives. One perspective for each of the twins. In the poem, that's the last one in one of their segments. And the poem that's the first one in the following segment for the other twin. So like the ones that share a page spread. Let me see if I can find an example. So like there are words that are picked out. You see those words that are like separate, and they're the same words down the poem for both sisters, but it's a different poem about different things. This is really, really weird so far. Major trigger warnings for sexual abuse, eating disorders, drug and alcohol use, all sorts of things. There are often a lot of trigger warnings in Ellen Hopkins books, so that's to be expected. I love Ellen Hopkins, but be warned. So I have a prediction about something. It could be totally wrong. It seems kind of out of the blue about what might be the case, but I just have this weird inkling. Some things aren't sitting right for me. Like, not in the way of the plot. Like, yes, there are terrible things happening, and I don't condone any of the things happening. However, there's something, it's like I can feel a plot twist coming, and I can see the shape of the plot twist. I think more than anything, I'll be surprised if that plot twist doesn't happen. I don't want to share what my prediction is, because if it does happen, that would be like a huge spoiler, so we'll only share it if it doesn't happen. But it's just because of some weird vibes and confusion I've had switching between the 2 parts, is all I'll say. And it would actually take way more explaining if that's not the case. So we'll see. Like a quarter of the way through this now. After one sitting, I'm on page 150, and I'm enjoying it so far. Super messed up, but compulsively readable. I'm probably gonna go read some more right now. I just finished my first read. I'm giving it 3 stars. Here's the thing. It was well done. I did entirely guess the plot twist, and I'm not that happy about it. Like, I didn't want that plot twist to be true. I think I might have mentioned that before, but it was. Then, even though it's verse, this was 565 pages of reading, and it didn't have to be. Now, sometimes I feel like Ellen Hopkins books are longer than they need to be in general. Like, this is a chunky book, right? I feel like the same stuff happened over and over and over again in the middle, and then finally everything fell apart and the end happened pretty quickly. But like just the same chaos and destruction over and over and over again in the middle. Again, major trigger warnings. Be very careful if you want to read this book. Sorry, it's so shiny. Ellen Hopkins always goes for those messed up families from the twin experience. This didn't really cover the twin experience in the way that I was looking for, and that's understandable why, but I can't really talk about that. There are twins involved in this story. It's not like there are not twins. There are twins. Hopefully the other twin books, I know most of them are probably going to use twins as a plot point, or like a large part of the plot, like this one did. Even in like The Giver, the existence of twins is used as a very specific plot point, right? So I'm used to that. I do hope there's more stuff that like resonates with me a bit more in the rest of these books, but we'll see. On to the next one. Terrible lighting and all. I'm going to tell you about the next book that I'm reading for this challenge because I'm only like 40 pages away from the end, and a big plot twist just happens, and so I want you to hear how I'm feeling about this book before it all goes down and after it all goes down. So I'm reading Please Don't Tell by Laura Timms, and this is a story. The way I've been explaining it to my family all day when they ask what the book I'm currently reading is about is that it's about these 2 twins in high school, and one of them went to somebody's party, somebody who she hates, and she blacked out, and the next morning she finds out that he died, and she doesn't know whether or not she killed him, but somebody begins to blackmail her, saying that they saw her kill him and have evidence that she killed him. So it's about these 2 sisters and unraveling the reason why she did have a motive for this alleged murder, and her trying to figure out what actually happened and the process of her being blackmailed. It's really interesting so far, so like high up on the intrigue, but it's not giving me like I love this book so much vibes, so it will probably just be a 4 stars. But we'll see how the last 40 pages go, because basically we thought we knew exactly who the killer was, and it's just been revealed that that is in fact not the case. So time to figure out what is actually going on. As for the twin representation, here's the thing. There have been some things that they've said that I've deeply related to and appreciated. There are some other things that have been like, whoa, these twins are really kind of controlling and manipulative of one another. It's hard to know which way it goes the most. Also, both of them are like severely mentally ill, but Grace is far more mentally ill. Like, she definitely has an eating disorder, or maybe OCD as well, likely PTSD from some things that have happened to her. One thing about the twins that I really appreciate, and this is going to seem like such a random thing for a person who's not a twin and not my situation, but my sister and I are 19 minutes apart. And you might be thinking, that's a long time for twins. And you'd be right. So many times people will ask us, like, how far apart are you? Especially now as C-sections become more and more common for multiples. So the times get closer and closer together for births. And we're like, oh, we're 19 minutes apart. And they're like, wow, that's a lot longer than I expected. These twins are 18 minutes apart. And that's the longest time span that I've ever seen in any twin portrayal in media of the twins' age gap. Random thing for me to love about it, but I do. And I was telling my sister about it and she agreed. Like, she really appreciated that. So yeah, I'll let you know how the ending goes. I'm nervous. This line hurts. Quote, "The people who love me only do because they don't know the real me yet." Ouch. Right then, so I am giving it 4 stars. The ending was pretty wild. There reached a certain point where I had an epiphany and I was like, I think I just realized what's happening. And it should have been obvious the whole time. You know how when there will be a plot twist and you're like, looking back on everything I've read previously, this makes complete sense? Yeah, it was kind of like one of those moments. I still wasn't like correct about it. It was still different than I thought, but it also made sense. Decent YA, like, psychological thriller. I had a good time reading it. It was a quick read for me. The twin representation was good, also messed up, but like good. The point is, this was a good second read for this challenge. I read most of it today. I had quite a busy day too, so it was a quick, enjoyable, and intriguing read. Again, the intrigue was like really high for me. Yeah. I don't even know if I told you I was reading this, but today I finished The News from the End of the World by Emily Jean Miller. And I picked this book for this challenge to read books about twins because it's about these twin brothers, and it's also told from multiple perspectives. And it's largely about their family is going through some things. So it opens on Vance, one of the twins, returning to his brother Craig's house because his fiance has broken up with him and kicked him out, and he's broke, he's lost his job, he's just kind of in a bad place. And he stumbles onto this scene at his brother's house when he returns where like his brother and his new wife are fighting all the time. He lost his previous wife, like she's dead, and he has a daughter from that previous marriage who has found herself in a bit of a tricky situation. And then he has 2 new children with this second wife. And they're fighting all the time. And his new wife is like toying with the idea of having an affair. And then Craig's daughter, Amanda, she was sent away for getting in trouble in school, and she's returned pregnant, and she wants to have an abortion, but her dad won't let her. And then you also get the perspective of the oldest of the 2 children. This is very convoluted. The oldest of the 2 not teenage children, the ones that are the second wives, like by birth, that's Helen. And you get to see the perspective of all of this drama unfolding from the view of a 7-year-old. Very fascinating. So it's written in all these different perspectives. And it was very complicated. And at one point in the car, I literally said, "Oh, shoot," but not the nice word for shoot. The other one. And my mom was like, "What's happening?" And I was like, "My book." It reads very much to me. It has the same like tension and mysterious unfolding that Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng had, or really anything by Celeste Ng. It's more of that style, but also this was like heavy in the dramatic irony, which I really loved. You'd get insights from different characters. Pretty much right away you find out that Amanda is pregnant, but it takes a long time for like Vance's perspective to find out that she's pregnant. There are other perspectives that know already, and you see the reactions to that, but like then you see her interactions with Craig not Craig. Then you see her interactions with Vance and how they're tinted by the fact that he does not know yet that she's pregnant and all that stuff. So just very interesting overall. As for the twin perspective of this, I thought it did have some interesting things to say about the experience of being a twin. I definitely think it had some commentary about being mistaken for one another and how that's not just like a physical, visual thing, but also a behavioral thing. Also the ways in which you can be an identical twin and your lives can diverge in different directions, but also they can have some like eerily parallel type things. You're similar, but you're different. I thought it captured that very well, especially with Amanda's plotline and both of their reactions to it specifically. So I did love that, like, desperately. Overall, I haven't rated this book on Goodreads, but I think I'm going to give it like maybe a 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think any book that you say, oh shoot, out loud to is going to be a great book, but I'm really glad I read this for this challenge. The next book that I picked up for this challenge is Mishling by Affinity Kinar. I'm a little more than halfway through it, and I'm enjoying it so far. Basically, the premise of this book is it's about these twins. It's written from both of their perspectives, like it goes back and forth. They're like, they're pretty young, maybe 10, I think, and they go to Auschwitz, so this is set during World War II. Because they're twins, they catch the eye of the Angel of Death. They go through like all this daily testing, and they're seen as oddities, and they're treated like a little better than everyone else in Auschwitz in the like barrack that they're in, since they go to this lab and they do all this testing and stuff. About halfway through the book, and this is mentioned in the synopsis, so it's not like a spoiler in my mind, one of them, Pearl, goes missing, and in the future she does still have chapters from her perspective, but right now I'm in the middle of like a really long chapter by Stacia, the other twin, who has not gone missing. Of course, it's really sad so far because it's about the Holocaust and about children during the Holocaust, which is hard, and especially as a twin, to think about like watching your twin go through these things is difficult. I do feel kind of removed from it because the twins themselves seem to have this magical ability to like feel each other's pain and see each other's thoughts and stuff more than like twins actually do, at least in my experience. That is like lessening the impact for me, because like it's making their connection seem like it's about those things instead of the like real reasons that twins are so connected to one another. That aspect is pretty like interesting. I don't know if the author is going for like a magical realism type thing with the twins or what. I'm interested to hear from Pearl soon. Stacia, she's like the Angel of Death's like favorite lab rat, essentially. That's how he treats her, and he's taken away like her hearing, and now I think like her sight's going, and he's convinced her that she's going to like live forever. Meanwhile, he seemed to give Pearl something that like made her really sick. So I'm just interested to see like what happens to the twins and where Pearl went. They were at this event, and then Stacia like passed out, and suddenly Pearl was gone, and I was like, what's happening? I had to reread that page like several times, but I am enjoying it so far, and I'm interested to see where it goes. I just finished Mishling by Affinity Kinar, and I'm giving it 4 stars. Fortunately for me, I have not spent much time away from my twin sister. However, the very idea of spending a long period of time away from my twin sister hurts, and so if I spend too much time thinking about the twins in this book, not just the main characters, all the other twins too, and how they were separated, and how like even though they had these cruel scientific experiments done on them that hurt them like physically, how separating them from one another like hurt them mentally. Instead, like thinking about that, I'm not sure I can handle. So I definitely feel like with this book my brain like blocked me from thinking too much about feelings, because it would just be like a lot in this case. I think this is a great read if you like historical fiction, if you especially like World War II centered fiction, things that center around the Holocaust. I think this is another like interesting, inventive like take on the story. I don't know, I enjoyed it. It's definitely one that like I'm happy to keep in my collection for the future. And there were some really beautiful lines in it. There were a couple that I had to stop reading and write down because they were very good. It was good. There's this line about sexuality in this book that I love. It goes, what the hell did he care who you slept with if you had good pitch and kept time? Here I am to give you my final review for Identical, which is my last book. And this book's about twins, Secret TBR. What was this about? I'm so bad at this reviewing thing. This was basically about these 2 twins from the Giannis family, Paul and Cass. And Paul is this big shot lawyer, and in fact, he's like a senator now, and he's running to be mayor of this town. And his brother, his identical twin brother Cass, is actually getting out of prison after a 25-year sentence for killing his girlfriend. This story really takes off when Cass gets out free, and then the brother of the girl that Cass supposedly killed slanders Paul's name by saying that Paul had something to do with the murder. So it opens up this like lawsuit, and then this private investigator gets involved and is trying to figure out if Paul had anything to do with the murder 25 years ago and what all happened. And this was like kind of crazy from start to finish. Everything was just kind of whack. I felt like once we got halfway into the book, there was a new like huge thing happening all the time. It was kind of weird though, because we got to a point where you knew what was happening, and then the like private investigator character was like, oh my god, I just figured out that means this. And I was like, yeah. I thought we'd already established that, but apparently we hadn't fully. I was just like a step ahead or something. But that was a little weird. But I liked all the characters in this. I thought they were all interesting. I especially found the twins in this book very interesting. And I loved the discussion of being an identical twin in this. Like, I thought it was a really good like look at it. I know that the author himself is not a twin, but he's always had like a fascination with twins, so it's obviously not written truly from a twin's perspective. And so there are some things that I'm like, I don't really like relate to that as a twin. But there were other long passages about being a twin that I totally like felt related to and thought that captured it really well, which are the main types of passages that I was like on the lookout for in this whole experiment with reading these types of books. I read a mystery about twins and I really liked it, and I think this was a solid book. I ended up giving it 4 stars, and I would definitely recommend it to people. If you're looking for like a thriller, this is not a thriller, but it is an interesting mystery type book. If you like politics and twins and like closed case murder mystery being re-examined, then this might be a great book for you to pick up. Well, we have reached the end. I've even edited up to this point. So I'm quickly going to wrap this up. I read 5 books from lowest to highest. I read Identical by Ellen Hopkins, gave it 3 stars. Please Don't Tell, gave it 4 stars. Identical by Scott Turow, gave it 4 stars. Mischling, gave it 4 stars. And then News from the End of the World, which I gave 5 stars. What did I learn about this? Twins are used as a plot point, and sometimes I find that disappointing. I really like reading about like the experience of being a twin. On the other hand, still love good twin stories. Still going to pick up every twin book that I see in places that I find them accessible. You know, library, free bookshelves, Dollar Tree, etc. I will still be grabbing them. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below which of these books seemed most interesting to you. And I know Bailey was onto this theme for a reading vlog, so comment down below if you were too. And subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!